This is Keys to My Mind, episode 10. And mostly I want to talk about the jobs that I've had since I graduated from college. I had got a job right before I graduated. I was a sales rep for Anderson Merchandising. Anderson Merchandisers are, they go to Walmart, they go to different stores, and they set up displays and, we sell books and movies and DVDs. So basically, you would get a percentage of your sales. So the rule was the person that had the highest sales, in a certain region or whatever, would get a bonus from this job. And like I said, I had just started working there. So at this time, I had 3 stores. I was working in Greenville, I was working in Greenwood, and I was working in Indianola. So I had 3 stores. So I had to go to all 3 of these stores. They had got me a hotel for the week, and I would have to go to all 3 of these stores during the week. On Tuesdays, I would have to go to all 3 stores because they have new releases, like new book releases and new movie releases. So it was kind of hard. All these stores like 15, 20 minutes apart. So it was kind of hard, going back and forth to each store, to do whatever I need to do to these stores. But I had got a routine down. Like, the routine was I would go to the farthest out store, which was Greenwood. So I would go to Greenwood first. I would stop in Indianola, and then I would stop in Greenville. Greenville is where my hotel was or whatever. So I did this job in 6 months. I had the highest sales of the region because I was the only person that was going to all 3 of these stores, talking to the store manager, talking to electronics, whatever. So I had the highest sales in the region. But they're going to tell me that, since I hadn't been doing it a year or whatever, that it doesn't count because I hadn't been doing it a year or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So that made me feel some kind of way. And, the person that was over me, the district manager, I barely even seen her. She never helped me like that. She wouldn't answer her phone. She wouldn't answer her calls or whatever. So basically I was on my own. Now I did this, like I said, about 6 months. And it was okay. I liked the pay or whatever, but, once they jipped me out of that, best sales thing, I felt some kind of way. So I started working in the mall or whatever in Jackson, the Metro Mall. I worked in the Metro Mall a couple months. I was a sales rep. I sell suits and ties, accessories. So, a person come in there, I would fit them for their suit. I would measure, I'll taper it, whatever. Cause we did custom made suits or whatever. So I was a salesman in this mall for a few months. And it was kind of like the same as, merchandise. The only difference was I had to deal with customers. But I was good at it. And my sales were, they were good. I got paid off commission. So, I was doing nice or whatever. But kind of like with the merchandising thing, this was a new company. So long story short, our sales overall was not good. So the company folded. So after that, I had started working at Walmart. I worked at Walmart. I think I started 2007. Yeah, I started working at Walmart. So I started off as a cart pusher, which, I didn't care. I just wanted to get in the door. So it didn't take long. Like with most jobs, people can see what I'm about. They can see that, I'm a good worker. So 3 months, they had moved me inside the store, and I was working in the meat department. Now, the meat department, I like working there. Like, I mean, it was easy to me. You know, it's nothing other than being cold. Like, you know, cutting the meat is nothing. So I worked in this meat department from, I don't know, 5 years, 6 years. So we had department managers in this meat department, and every time that we got one, it seemed like it was some kind of issue with them. Either they didn't know what the hell they was doing, they wouldn't come to work, and if they came to work, they wasn't doing shit. So they kept changing them out or whatever. And I was working with, it was me, and it was an older guy. His name was Mr. Bill. He's passed now, but like I said, it was an older guy, Mr. Bill. I liked Mr. Bill, but Mr. Bill, you know, he had an attitude about him, like, you know, he was kind of rude, and he carried a little attitude or whatever. So every time that they would replace the department managers, you know, in my department, they would never look at me for these positions. They would always look at someone else. Like the two of them before me that were department managers, they would come to me to train these people to be my manager. You know what I mean? So I had to train these person and show them the ins and outs of this department to be my manager. So like I said, long story short, they passed me over 3-4 times, which I didn't really care at the point, like, because I didn't want to be responsible for, if shit go wrong, then the first person that comes to is the manager. But people come to me anyway, you know, because of my personality, the customers like me and shit. So most of the time when shit go wrong, they'll come to me. The last one we had before I became the manager of the meat department, it was a good friend of mine, and his name was Daniel. I liked Daniel a lot, you know, but, you know, Daniel, you know, he didn't want to come to work and shit. And, I mean, he didn't give a fuck. And he basically had trained me to do his job. Like, all the manager shit that he had to do, I was the one who ended up doing it or whatever. And long story short, he just stopped coming to work. That's the only way they really just, whatever. They let him go. And it was like, well, we want you to be the manager now or whatever, because you've been doing it anyway, because he's been absent. So I didn't want to take this position at first because I knew that this older guy that was working there, Mr. Bill, I knew that he would have a problem with it. Like I said, he was older than me, at least 10, 20 years. And he had been there. So I guess he felt some kind of way, you know, if I would take the position. And I knew that. But at first, I did not take the position. I went to the deli. I was the deli manager at Walmart for a year because I did not want to step on his toes or whatever. So I was the deli manager or whatever. But the thing about it was, you know, in the deli, it's mostly, I had like 14 people that were under me, and 13 of these people were women. So when you're the manager of women or whatever, it's like you have to be really on your shit. Like, you really gotta know what the fuck you doing. Like, you gotta be on your shit, because a woman will sit here and they quick to tell, you know, like, oh, he's not this and he's not that and he's not this. So I had to learn this shit on the fly. You know what I'm saying? I had to experience a lot of whatever. And then at that point, when I was the deli manager, for one thing, I was the only dude that was a you know, department manager in this whole store. And the second thing I was the only black dude that was like, you know, a manager. So it was a lot of pressure, you know, it was a lot of scrutiny. I had people just fucking with me, you know, people just whatever. But every time that we had inspection and we had to have the department, we always got a green, because I made sure that, you know, that I kept my shit up to par or whatever. And also, I also try to help people. I try to put them in a position where they could succeed. If we had people that didn't want to work in certain areas, I try to even it out. That everybody would have to do the same shit. It wouldn't be just one person doing this shit. So after a year, like I said, I had trained another lady to be the manager of the meat department. I had went to the deli to be the manager. So she ended up whatever. So finally, I did take this position to be the meat department manager. And like I said, this old guy, he made it hell on me, bro. Like, he was on my ass. Certain things he wouldn't do. He have a nasty attitude, and he this and he that. So he made it hard on me to be the meat department manager. Like, I knew he would, but, in my life, like I tell people, like, I've been through so much shit. Like, a lot of this shit that happened to me now, it's not even like whatever. I tell people, like, when it comes to your family, when it comes to who raised you, who did things for you, a lot of that depends on, it helps out with being a person that you probably need to be. When I look back at it, the people that brought the positivity to my life were the people that really helped me in the end. You know what I'm saying? A person that I probably miss the most, it's a lot of them that I miss. It's all the same, but a person that I miss more than I thought I did probably was my grandmother. My grandma had died when I was young. I wasn't too young, but I was a teenager. But grandma would always tell you shit that you didn't know. Like, for one thing, grandma knew who you were kin to. And you go to your grandma knew people you were kin to that your parents did not tell you this shit to know who you were kin to. Your grandma knew every goddamn body. Grandma telling me people, I had like classmates in my class. I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't like them. But grandma like, oh, you kin to this person. I'm like, damn. Oh, you kin to that person. You know what I'm saying? So grandma knew like what his family tree and his family line and stuff was. So when grandma died, it's like I didn't just lose grandma. I lost my family members that, that I could have known about, or I could have whatever. I did not know this. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I realized that, I'm like, damn, grandma would have known this, or grandma wouldn't have known that, or whatever. So when you lose a grandma in the family, that's just like, when grandma died, shit, it wasn't no more family reunions. The only time you see these family members is if someone passed or something bad happened. So when we lost grandma, we didn't just lose grandma, like, we lost our family, basically, you know what I'm saying? And I tell people that, like, you got a family and shit, and you have grudges in your family and shit, man, you need to let that shit go, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, you could die any moment. You could die tomorrow. You could die in the next hour. So if you got a grudge against a family member and you whatever toward this person, all you doing is hurting yourself. You're not hurting them, because they living their life. You know what I'm saying? So this last year, particularly this last year of my life, I had people that I had, grudges against. I had people that I didn't like. They didn't like me. I had went out of my way in this last year to try to fix all of these things. Like, everybody that I had a problem with, or everybody that I knew that didn't like me for certain reasons, which, you can't make a motherfucker like you, but you can tell a motherfucker what it really is. You know what I'm saying? I had went out of my way to try to rectify these situations. Like, I try to fix the problem with people. Like, okay, bro, I came up to one of my friends. He was my friend at the time. And I asked this dude, like, I'm like, bro, you really don't like me? He was like, no. And I asked him why. And what it was just a misunderstanding. You know what I'm saying? Like, he thinking that I'm trying to get with somebody that he used to talk to and this and that. But see, the thing was, I was not trying to get with her. I was trying to get with her sister. You know what I'm saying? So we got on the phone. I called, like I said, I like to confront the problem. I called this girl. I'm like, bro, I didn't tell her that he was listening. You know what I'm saying? I told him not even saying that. I said, you know, your boy think that I've been trying to get with you. She was like, no, like you always try to get to my sister. My sister will avoid your calls. So I would answer the phone. So that's the only reason I was even talking to her, because her sister was avoiding my call and shit. And what he thinking I'm trying to get with her, because she be like, oh, I'm on the phone with Derek. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I tell people, like, a lot of these problems that people have with each other, if you sit here and you talk about this shit and you address these problems, you'll be surprised at how many of problems that people have with each other are just misunderstandings. You know what I'm saying? Like, people just you don't know what this other person is thinking. You don't know what this other person is doing. You get what I'm saying? And this dude had told me, like, bro, I've been wanting to fix this problem with you. You know what I'm saying? But I didn't want to just whatever. So I've always been a bigger person. You know what I'm saying? Like, if I really got a problem with a person, I come to them and I'll ask them, like, you know, what's really the deal? Like, what's really going on? Like, what's really the problem? And like I said, a lot of these problems can be solved these ways or whatever. So that's it. That's all.